Today we're talking about areas of interest, also known as support and resistance. And if loosely defined, you can also call them supply and demand. Okay, supply and demand. Okay, so let's get to it. As you can tell, we already have new terms that we have to introduce, and that will be something called support. Okay, what is a support? What is a resistance? Okay, we have support, we have a resistance. Okay, so remember I did touch on this a bit. Remember I told you that think of support as, it would have been better if I'll just quickly do this. Okay, so I did touch on this earlier on, and I said think of resistance as your roof. Okay, the roof will keep you inside, like in your house. Okay, think of it as a roof, and then think of support as your floor, right? It will support you and it will stop you from going down. So the roof will stop you from flying out of your room upwards, and then your floor will support you. Okay, think of it that way so that it will just click easier for you. Okay, so by resistance, what are we talking about? Okay, when the market moves like that, it's moving like that. Okay, there is it is. Okay, resistance is that area there. As you can see from this first touch, it was the first time when the market came and then it came back down. Okay, it was resisted. And for the second time when it comes back, this now is an area of interest. Okay, it is a resistance. Okay, because of this first touch right here. And then when it comes back here, the market was resisted or was pushed downwards. Okay, there was a roof above it. Okay, so that's how we had that area there, of which we call it resistance. Okay, support goes the same way, right? Support goes the same way. Let's do it like this. Okay, when you talk about support, you are talking about below, right? Below, what's happening below. Okay, we will say this is your resistance up there, and then below is your support. It is stopping the market from going downwards. Okay, so when the market came here, it hits that spot. When it came back, it's the very same zone, the very same area stopped it from actually passing through, and the market went all the way up. So these are areas of interest that we're going to talk about today. I was just defining them for you. Okay, now when it comes to supply and demand, now if we loosely define them, you will actually see that these things they actually mean pretty much the same thing, right? They actually talking about the same thing basically. Okay, for example, when we say supply, what do we mean? Okay, I believe most of you, if you attended high school, you know about the law of supply and demand. It's basically the same thing here, same principles. Okay, so when you see a bit of I would call it buying, or rather aggressive buying, that is a demand. Okay, if something is in demand, that means something is being bought, right? Like, it should make sense, right? It's in demand. Then if you get a selling, okay, that is something is in supply. Okay, we have a lot of something. Okay, so if something is in demand, you're gonna get a lot of buying. Okay, something is in a surplus, sort of, we're getting a lot of selling, right? So the area here, right, this area right here will be an area of, we spoke about it, demand. Okay, and then the area above here is an area of a supply, what you call supply. All right, so I hope it makes sense. Okay, so in a way, supply is more of a resistance. Okay, and demand is more of a support. All right, that should make sense. Okay, so if you want to look it further, just look up something called the law of supply and demand. But I know you've heard it before, or in school or something. Okay, so let's go to the charts. I wanted to get to the charts real quick today, so that because most of the stuff is just more practical. Okay, it's more practical. So let's look at how do you draw these areas. Okay, support and resistance. How do you draw the support and resistance? What are we even talking about? But we've explained them actually in terms of what they are. Okay, so how do you draw these areas? How do you draw support and resistance? Okay, how do you draw them? Okay, in terms of like, just call them areas of interest. I just prefer doing that, and I'll show you why. Okay, I'll show you exactly why. So what you do is you want to see the bigger picture of your chart. Okay, this is 15 minutes. Anyway, you can draw them anyway, but it's usually better on the higher time frames. Okay, higher time frames. This is the 1 hour time frame. Let us just close. Let me just close this. So this is my 1 hour time frame, and I'm drawing these levels right here. Okay, I can do it even on the 4 hours. It's still fine, but I prefer to do it on the 1 hour. Okay, just to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Right. So what you do is you want to see the full picture, the bigger picture. So I will actually zoom out so that I can see the bigger picture, right? And then I will start placing these levels, right? I will start placing my levels right there. I will look at the ones that are just easy to see, right? I will just look at the ones that are easy to see. Okay. For example, you see right here, right? You see this place right here. I put my line there, right? I put a line, right? I roughly plotted. Let me make this line thick. Properties. Let me make it thick so that it's much easier. We'll make it dark and thick. Okay. Where is this thing? Okay, so there is my first line. Okay, it was an obvious level. Okay, let's move. There is another one above there, right? As you can see there, the market came around here, right? I hope you can see there. These areas, I just placed it here. Okay, okay. Then I will say here, right? Somewhere around here, right? It's pretty easy to see, right? Okay, I'll explain everything. Just plot what you can see right now, and then you can always adjust everything, right? I believe I have the obvious levels right now. So now what do you want to look at after doing what you just, okay, this is also a good level. We can't leave that one as well. Here, right? And then this one as well is a level, right? Okay, so now what are we going to be doing is that, okay, we want to adjust our line to get a line of best fit. Okay, by a line of best fit, I mean, you see where how many times this level, let's look at this one right here because it has more touches, right? How many times this level was interacted with? Okay, as you can see, it's like a whole lot of times, right? So now let's look at where it was touched and actually try to find a line of best fit. What is a line of best fit? Okay, look at it. You see right here or on your far left over here, you are getting something like you see that if you can bring it lower, if you can take this level a bit lower, you'll be able to get to the peaks, towards the peaks around here, and you might also get to accommodate this one right here. Okay, does it make sense? So you are trying to accommodate the most touches, right? The most touches. I hope this makes sense. If you don't get it, just ask in there. So now let's try to bring it down such that we are getting a line of a best fit. You see right now, this should be my line of best fit. Okay, this should be my line of best fit. These are horizontal support and resistance levels. Okay, they are horizontal. Okay, we're going to get to the more complex ones. Okay, now look at why we move this line. Okay, you see here it touches. You want to get the most touches, so you want to average it out. Okay, you see this touch right here. You see also it interacted somewhere here. You see here it touched. You see this one, it touched. You see here more interaction, more interaction, more interaction. So this line is rather a perfect way you'll get it, because just throw it roughly and then adjust it to a line of best fit. That's how you do it. Okay, preferably on higher time frames. It's much more reliable on higher time frames. Okay, let's fix the other ones. Okay, all right. Okay, let's see which one. Okay, this one. Okay, so you see we have some close interaction there, also here. Okay, it came all the way and it kept interacting with this line. Okay, now what are we doing when you're adjusting? We're trying to find a sweet spot where we are getting the most touches. Okay, where must I move this one? Okay, which side must I move this one, up or down? Okay, I will argue that just a little bit up, just a bit. Okay, just a bit. There is no really there is no perfect way to do it, but you should see that, okay, we are trying to get an interaction here. Okay, we are trying to get an interaction here, an interaction. So we are getting a lot more touches. Okay, a lot more touches, right? Okay, so that's how I will draw these ones. All right, so from there, let me just fix the rest, and then we can actually continue. Okay, look at this one, right? It was from here, as you can see. I think this one is just all right there. Okay, this one, since there is no other area, you can just adjust it a bit. There you have it. Okay, and so on and so on. So that's how you would have them. Okay, that's how you will actually place your levels. Let me place one here just so you can get it easier. Okay, you see, if I put a level here, you see I'm already adjusting now. If I put a level here, look at how many times it was interacted. Okay, look at this, right? You get an interaction here, a touch, you get a lot more touches, you know. So I tried to find a sweet spot there. You see, that was a very, very good level as well, as you can see clearly. All right, so I believe this is much easier. I can just open a different instrument and we look at it as well. Okay. Now, one thing that I found very, very nice and useful is you should draw these levels in advance. You must draw them before the week starts. Okay. Myself, I do it during the weekend. Okay. When I keep telling you that to prepare for the week ahead, this is what I will be doing. I'm drawing levels and everything, just preparing for the week. That way, you don't have to worry for the rest of the week usually, because these are like a higher time frame levels. Okay, if they're on the 4 hour time frame, even better, because you know that the market won't move much. Okay, so you must prepare in advance when you are drawing these levels. All right, let's open a different instrument and actually see how we can draw it there. Okay, this was Euro USD. Let's open GDP USD. Okay, so this is GDP USD on 1 hour, right? Let's see if we can spot these levels. Okay, let me switch off these period separators. There you go. So you want to see the bigger picture, right? So that you can give a rough drawing of these levels. Okay, and then you start drawing the levels. Okay, support and resistance. Okay, in a few minutes we'll just look at which one is a support, which one is a resistance on this GDP USD axis. Okay, so this here is another one. Okay, a support there. Okay, this is a good level as well. I'll put it there. Okay, I haven't adjusted yet. I'm just roughly placing them. Okay, I'm just roughly placing these levels. Let's put it up here. Okay, let's put it here. Okay, where else? If you see another spot there, okay, you can let me know, right? But so far, I think we did a pretty good job there. It's also a nice. You see, when they are closer like this, as you can see, these ones that are close, that should tell you something. But we are getting there in a few minutes. Okay, in a few minutes. Can we place a level here? I think so. I think we can do that. Okay. I think pretty much. And also, what am I doing? Okay, and also here up high. Okay, now let's fix them. Okay, this one below right here, there are more touches back, but let's focus on the more recent ones. You will try to adjust it in a way so that you get the most touches. I'll put it somewhere around here. Okay, so you know when the market comes back to this level, this is why we throw them. When the market comes back to these levels of interest, you want to see how it behaves around those levels. Okay, so let's look at this one. You see, this level, assuming the market hasn't, maybe it was somewhere around here. Can you see how it's interacting with the level we just drew? Okay, but let me fix this one. I will move it a bit, just a bit up, and then Leave it there. Okay, it was a support, okay, still a support. Okay, it is still a support. Wait, a support in a way, and still a support. Right now, it just happened. It came all the way, it hit the level, it went up. Okay, so this is why we like to throw these levels. Okay, I hope you can see the interaction there, right? What is the interaction there? Okay, these are the areas, right? These are the areas, right? You can see what was happening around this level. Okay, you can see the mess that's happening whenever the market gets there. Okay, so this is what you'd want to do every weekend. Okay, higher time frames, right? We're talking 4 hour and daily in 1 hour. Okay, okay, those are the higher time frames that we're looking at. Okay, you can even go higher, but just daily going 4 hour in 1 hour. Those are the typical ones. Okay, let's adjust this one. I just placed it. I will move it. I think it was fine where it was. Okay, I think it was fine where it was. Okay. Now let's talk about something really interesting in a way. Okay, you see the interaction, right? The interaction, right? You see the interaction right there. Okay, so now there's something that I want to show you. Okay, these don't take them as lines. Do not take them as lines. Okay, what am I talking about? We are going to take them as areas of interest, not lines of interest. Okay, it's not a perfect line, it's an area. Okay, and why do we do that? Okay, because it does not always hit exactly at that spot, but we'll talk about it. I'll show you just now. Look at this. Okay, instead of thinking of it as a line, think of it as an area. Now, when it's an area, you're gonna draw the lines first, like I just did, and then you're gonna it's either you can just use your mind and assume it as an area, or you can actually draw areas on top of these lines. Okay, but after drawing these lines so that you get more accuracy. Okay, so make an area like that. So it's still an area of best fit. Now, this area you are trying to accommodate the most. Okay, the most levels. Okay, so it's like a small area around that line, right? So this is an area of what? So we are coming back to this thing I was talking about where I said, let's call them areas of interest instead of trying to specify if this is a support or a resistance. Why? Because you see here, it was a resistance. Let me change my color right there. You see here, we had a resistance, right? We also had a resistance. Okay, now look at this here. When it broke it, okay, when it broke this level, right, it came here, it broke it, it went up. When it came back, this level was no longer a resistance, it is now a support. Okay, interesting concept. A support or a resistance can switch to a support. It can be a vice versa like that. Okay, we can have a resistance turn into a support. You can also have a support turn into a resistance. So now try to look out for those examples as well. Okay, look at this one. Okay, what happened? Let me see. Because it has to break it and then flip. Okay, look at this one. Okay, now I don't think that's a good example. I will definitely find these examples. They are so easy to spot. It broke, it came. Okay, it didn't really. Okay, let's see. We'll find these examples right there. Okay, so that should tell you that you must be flexible with it. Don't just assume it will always be a resistance. That's why I just call them areas of there you have it. That's what I was looking for. Okay, this is what a perfect example right there. Look at this. Okay, so remember I said when these two lines are closer together like this, you can just make it one area and make it an area of a interest instead of the lines. You see how close they are? Just make it one area. But I prefer my charts like this, so I don't draw the areas a lot. So look at this. Okay, this was this area right here was your resistance, right? Resistance, right? And then when the resistance was broken, when the market came back, it became what? A support. Now the market is going all the way up. Does it make sense, right? This was a resistance that turned into a support, vice versa. Even the other way around is true as well, okay? So that's an interesting concept as well, okay? Some people call this thing a break and retest, okay? Let me just show it to you. The market broke here, it came back to retest, break and retest, okay? So now let's talk about something called dynamic support and resistance. Okay, let's talk about dynamic support and resistance. What are we even talking about when we're saying it's dynamic, right? If you have a question, just ask in the chat box. I will attend to it after everything. Okay. So I'll open a different instrument and then we look at dynamic support and resistance. Okay, there you have it. Nasdaq. Let's template. Okay, so when I say dynamic, I'm talking about something like this, right? It's still support and resistance. It's still the same concept, okay? Still the same concept. Everything that I spoke about, think of it in the same, very same way. Let me remove these period separators and then I explain it to you. Okay. So something interesting is happening here. As you can see, Nasdaq is going up in this nice move upwards. It's an uptrend. We spoke about uptrends. And something interesting is happening here. What's happening here? It is actually, it's like something is stopping Nasdaq, but now it's not horizontal. It is rather at an angle like this. Can you get it? Okay. So let me draw something so that I can show you what I'm talking about. You see from here, we can just draw a nice line all the way here, okay, up to there. Look at that. That is still called it's a support, okay? Even if you are still dealing with the dynamic ones, you will still consider them areas, not lines. It's still an area. So you can say, okay, it's gonna be a small, nice area like that. Similar approach, okay? And then you're like, oh, there you have it. That is my, what you call a support, okay, because it's below. The market keeps bouncing. It's more like a floor that is at an angle, okay? It's more like a floor that's at an angle, okay? So how many touches and also on, okay? We still have touches. I think this was our first, second, another chart touch, and another one, okay? We are still having a line of best fit. That is what you call your dynamic support and resistance, okay? But in this case, this is a support. Let's see if you can find some form of a resistance, right? There you have it. Can you see that one? Okay, let me just draw it here. Right. Can you see that? Okay, so you had that first touch. Now remember, we make it a what? A line, I mean an area, okay? So that we accommodate this touch as well, right? So there you have it, right? A line, an area of best fit. You have our first, and it came and touched, it came and touched again. And then when it broke it, okay, this is our resistance, okay? When it broke this resistance, it came back and retested left, okay? Similar concepts, right? So we spoke about this break and retest. It's happening even on dynamic, on our dynamic support and resistance, okay? This is also known as a trend line, okay? Trend line, actually it's mostly usually known as a trend line, okay? Same concept. I believe that I just made it much easier, but if you don't get it, you can still ask a question, okay? Now let's get to a different one. Let's get to a different dynamic support and resistance, okay? This is where we talk about moving averages, okay? Moving averages on the trend. Moving averages, all right. So what happens with moving averages, okay? They can also act as support and resistance. Look at this, okay? This is how, if you didn't see how I opened a moving average, go to your left. On your left, let me just throw something there. On your left here, this window, what you're gonna find is under trend, you're gonna get where is this thing? Where is this thing? A moving average. Okay, this is a moving average, right? And then from there, you can double click on it. And I made it a 200 period and leave everything like that, depending on whatever you want to achieve. Let me just make it thicker so that it's much easier to see. Okay, actually, let me make it even thicker so that you make it an area, not a line, right? There you have it. Wait. There you have it. So now this is also a dynamic one because it's not a constant what you call, it's not just a horizontal support and resistance. What happened? How do you know? Okay, when it came here, we got a touch here. Okay, we will also consider this one a touch, and also this was, it came back and it hit and then hit. So in this scenario, it was acting as a what? A roof, rather resistance. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, let me just show you another example. Let me show you another example of this. Look at this. Okay, interesting concept right there. Look at this. When the market came to this moving average, you see you get this here, you get this here, you get this here, and you get that here. Okay, so also a great way to see the trend as well. I also use the 200 moving average to see the trend, okay, to determine where the market is how the market is trending. Okay, so this one you don't have to adjust the line, it just does everything automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, I hope you get that as well. Let me open this very same moving average on something else, maybe GDP USD, and we show it as well. We show this as well. So basically, I'm almost done. As you can see, the market reacted. Okay, it's acting as a support here. The market reacted to it. Same thing here. Okay, same concept, guys. I'm repeating the same things over and over again. It's touching. It's doing this. It's doing this. I'm repeating the same things. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, came all the way. Came all the way. Keeps touching. Keeps touching. Keeps touching and leaving. Okay. So usually when you are on a downtrend, this line, the moving average, is going to be above the market. When you are on an uptrend, it's going to be below the market. Okay, so that's how you can determine if it's an uptrend or a downtrend. Okay, I'm not sure if we're going to get enough time to actually speak about supply and demand in particular. Okay, because it should come after understanding how support and resistance works. Okay, so for now, let me just tell you a few pointers or some tips on support and resistance. And then the next class, we will extend on supply and demand, okay? Specifically, now that you will be understanding exactly what is support and resistance, okay? And then from there, we'll talk about liquidity, okay? If you like, once you get it, you will see that these terms, if you just define them loosely, you will actually see they are meaning the same thing. They are talking about the same things. Okay, so we will just go on and on and on, and then we'll get to making talking about strategies, putting everything we spoke about together, and then it will start making sense. But from now already, it should be making sense. Okay, so now here are a few tips on support and resistance. Okay, first of all, I spoke about it. They are areas. It's not a line, it's an area. Okay, so it's more like a wider area or space. Okay, something like this. Okay, we spoke about it. Okay, secondly, it's not a wise decision to put your stop loss on a support or a resistance. Okay, it's not a very wise decision. All right, it can depend on how you are trading, but you'll want to put your stop loss away from it. Okay, so if you are entering here a buy, remember you don't trade them blindly. Okay, you have to have some confirmations and everything. Okay, So this is not a strategy, it's just a concept like that. Okay, if you are entering the market here, you don't want to put your maybe you are entering here, you want to put your stop loss away from your support. Okay, so that's tip number 2. Okay. Remember one more thing, support can turn to resistance, resistance can turn into support, which is why I just call them areas of interest. Okay, that's another tip you need to keep in mind. Okay, and then also it helps. Okay, another tip, it helps to draw them during the weekend so that when the week starts, you are already prepared. You already have your areas like that. Okay, assuming that you are using them to actually trade. Okay, now one more interesting tip is that when a support or a resistance gets touched a lot of times, when it gets tested a lot of times, it gets weaker. Okay, it does not get stronger, it gets weaker. Okay, the chances are it's going to turn into a resistance or something, but the more it's touched, it's going to get weaker. Let's make an example quickly. You see, this is a support, right? This support right here. If the market keeps coming back here and it goes back, coming back, goes back, coming on this very same, the more it gets tested like that, it will get weaker and eventually get broken by them. And the market will break it like that. Okay, so that's another tip. Okay, so for confirmation, if you are using this thing to confirm, make sure that it closes above or below to confirm. Let me show you an example. I will just zoom in right now. Okay, let us say that according to your strategy, you wanted to see if you should buy here. I mean, if you should sell here, right? What you wait for is the candle to close below. Okay, this support. Okay, if it closes below, then you can sell, right? Okay, if it does not close, if it doesn't even close, like it's still going, you do not enter. That is not confirmation. You wait for a close below or above. Okay, even if you wanted to buy here, right? It came, when it returns, waits for it to close above, and then you can enter a buy. Okay, this buy, we actually missed it. Our strategy said we must buy as well, GDP USD, unfortunately. Okay, so what else? A close above or below, just make sure that it closes above or below for your own confirmation. Okay, if you do not wait, then it's gonna clapper you, it's gonna kill you. Now I know this can be a hard thing to grasp for newbies if you are new. So if you have a computer, as always, I have some tools that will help you to actually draw these levels, especially when you are starting up, just to help you see these levels. Okay, and I'm gonna email to everyone who registered for this, and then you can actually use them in your advantage. Let me show you this real quick. We are done with the class, by the way. I'm just showing you guys these things right now, the tools. Okay, so this is VolatiVix 75. Okay, I'll share it for MT4 and MT5. Just keep an eye on your emails. Okay, this one is a very good one. I love this one as well. Yeah, there it is. You see, it throws the levels for you. Can you see that? Okay, and then it tells you exactly if this one is, if it's been tested a lot of times or not. From there, good people, I'm gonna have to leave you here. And one more thing you can do, I think, it's called supply and demand. It's a supply and demand tool. Okay, I will go deeper into supply and demand on the next class, and then we get into liquidity and so on and so on. All right, so there you have it, good people. As you can see, this tool is actually showing you that this level, this is a level. This one was tested a lot more times. It's red, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, if you look at this bigger one, all right, it's even red. The tool is showing you that this is another area, what you call an area of supply, like right there. Okay, good people. I'm out of here. You guys, I'm not seeing questions, so that means you guys get it.